Calls to ramp up our climate change adaptation plans. That's basically getting out of the way of the storms. It comes after the release of a report by an expert advisory group appointed by the government who said, yes, we need to do that, we need to adapt soon, and probably the government won't be able to fund most of it. There'll be no buyouts. Rather than ending state-backed buyouts of homes on the front lines, one policy expert is calling for an urgent framework to move and resettle entire towns. Raewyn Peart is with me this morning, who is an Environmental Defence Society Policy Director, and joining me at the desk. Good morning.
Good morning, Ryan.
Good to have you here. So, what exactly are you saying? Are you saying we need to, instead of worrying about individual houses, move entire towns? What is it?
Well, this is going to cost the country a lot of money. We've already got 200,000 homes in harm's way. That's just from floods, not mentioning slips or coastal erosion. And we need to make really smart decisions about how we minimise the cost to the country, which is going to be in the billions and billions. So instead of arguing about who's going to pay, we need to be talking about how we're going to adapt and how we're going to minimise this risk. We need to be thinking about moving houses that are in harm's way and that it doesn't make sense to protect. We need to be thinking about making room for the water to go somewhere. A lot of the reason we're flooding homes is because the water's got nowhere to go, so we can strategically buy out some homes and resettle those people and secure the others because water's got somewhere to go. And we really need to be managing our land use as well. We've all seen those pictures on TV of the slash coming down the hills and wiping out people's properties, businesses, wiping out bridges. We need to get on top of that kind of thing. And finally, we need to stop putting more homes in hazard areas. We know just in Auckland here, the council has permitted thousands of new homes since the Auckland anniversary floods. That's billions of dollars of investment in hazard areas. So we need to stop that. That's a no-brainer.
Yes. They argue, that as an Auckland Council, that they haven't had the right to refuse that stuff, that they need another lever from government to pull first, which they are apparently getting. So they'll be able to do that.
Well, I don't know that's correct. They're right. We have an enabling system, so yes. Councils can't say no, find it very hard. We need national government to put in national regulation that makes it clear that councils are not able to consent houses in high hazard areas. The government's not proposing to do that. They're proposing a much weaker, sort of more discretionary framework, and I don't think that's going to help.
There's enough out clauses you could still build in the middle of a river.
Yes, and if there's out clauses, people will build.
This all sounds great, but how much land would that rule out? In a city like Auckland, how many houses will that mean we're not building?
Well, it's not that we're not building houses, we're building smarter. We're building them in the right places, we're intensifying in places that are safe. It makes no sense to be building houses in places that are going to flood. People are going to be wiped out of their homes. I mean, people are dying in these events. It's not just loss of people's most people's entire wealth is tied up in their homes.
Yes.
If they lose those, it's devastating.
To the point, if you are buying on flood-prone land, you know that it's your fault if it floods, isn't it? Why should the government be paying for it?
Well, it's not your fault it floods. The council's...
Well, it's your fault you bought on flood-prone land, isn't it?
There's a lot of people who currently own houses in Auckland, thousands in areas in flood. I mean, we have largely built in floodplains. So this is an issue that affects thousands and thousands of people who have bought homes not aware that there's a risk.
But how can they not be aware? Because it's on the limb, isn't it? Whether it's in a flood zone?
Well,
I mean, they say you've got to get your lawyer to look at that stuff because then they'll tell you that kind of thing.
I mean, this gets back to the issue of information and actually assessing risk, which has been very ad hoc around the country. Councils assess some risks, not others, in very different ways. The information's been made available in different ways. And so I think the really good thing that government's doing is it's saying we need to get that information out to people so they are aware. of what the risks are to their property, but it doesn't really help those people who already own those homes.
Yes, I know, I agree with that point.
Insurance may withdraw, they won't be able to sell them. That's their entire wealth tied up in that asset, and they're in a high-risk area. These people need help.
Where would you buy, if you were to buy a house tomorrow, where's the state? Because you don't want to buy on a cliff, because it might fall in. You don't want to buy on the floodplain. Where do you buy?
So you buy on those hilly areas that are above the floodplain. But you know, we need to make really good decisions about how we respond. And I think the government's saying, well, we're not going to bail out people. You know, we need a lot more than that, a lot more leadership.
Appreciate your time this morning, Raewyn. Thank you.
Thank you.